Good morning, everyone. I would like to welcome you to the NC Flex Tricare Supplement Plan for state employees. This is not new to state government. This was actually introduced years ago, and then we took it away and we brought it back. My name is Phyllis Perry. I know on your screen it shows Ray Sherry, but I'm actually using his WebEx, so I will be hosting the meeting for today. I am with Office of State Human Resources in the NC Flex program, and this is how Tricare Sup will be given to you all is through the NC Flex program. Now today I have Stephanie with the Tricare supplemental plan, and she will actually be the one who will be talking to you about this presentation. I've got a question, and please, if you all have questions, please chat it in to all attendees, and we will address them as they come in. I have a question, and is this supplement available for current reservists and families who have Tricare Reserve Select? And Stephanie will actually be addressing that in a few moments. I just want to go over through the agenda. We're going to review the NC Flex Tricare Supplemental. We're going to discuss the eligibility. We're going to discuss the plan features, the benefits enrolling in Tricare, the supplemental rates, how to enroll, how to continue coverage, the contact information, and of course we will take questions as we go along. Stephanie, are you on the call?
I am. Good morning, Phyllis. Good morning, everybody else. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
So we will kind of jump right in, and as Phyllis mentioned, please feel free to ask questions as we go along. So the NC Flex program is going to be administered the Tricare Supplement Plan under the program. Selman & Company is actually going to handle the administration side of that, so we're going to handle the enrollment and the claims. We're also going to determine eligibility. So the main criteria for being eligible is that you have to be retired military, so you have to have given at least 20 years of service, or you can be a reservist. We're going to go more into the eligibility in a little bit, but you must have Tricare to have the supplement. So that's kind of a good way of knowing if you're going to be able to qualify for the supplement. And then we're also going to handle processing of the claims. So what is the Tricare supplement? NC Flex Tricare supplement wraps around Tricare. So the supplement acts as the secondary insurance, and your Tricare would be primary, and that's why you have to have the Tricare to be able to have the supplement. It just kind of picks up what the Tricare leaves behind. So you must have Tricare Standard, Extra, or Prime. It can replace the state health plan. So currently, if you have Tricare and the state health plan, what happens is the state health plan acts as the primary insurance. So it's going to pick up all your initial costs. Whatever is left behind, typically what's left behind is picked up by Tricare, which is considered your secondary insurance. If you were to pick up the supplement and you wanted to drop the state plan, Tricare would become your primary and the supplement would become your secondary. However, that being said, an employee does not have to drop the state plan. So an example maybe of somebody who wants to keep the health state plan might be maybe the rates for employee coverage make sense for you to keep the plan, but the rates for family coverage are higher than the supplemental plan. You might want to pick up the supplement to take care of your family. It covers costs Tricare does not. So anything that Tricare leaves behind is what it's going to pick up. And the nice thing about the supplement is we approve what Tricare approves. So there's really no guessing if it's going to be covered. So if Tricare approves something, then we're going to approve something and vice versa. If they deny it, we'll deny it. So the difference with that is with the state health plan, they don't follow Tricare guidelines, so you're not necessarily sure, even if they cover it, Tricare might not. So this is kind of just a nice, easy, seamless plan for you.
Stephanie, I have a question. Someone has stated, I am a drilling Army reservist and have been considering getting Tricare, but haven't gotten it yet. Is this the same thing?
So they're a reservist.
Right.
So the supplement works kind of separate from Tricare. We don't offer Tricare, the primary. So the government offers Tricare. So you could enroll in Tricare as long as you're eligible. You could enroll through the government into Tricare, and then you could pick up the supplement.
Okay, so they would have to enroll in Tricare first, and then they could pick up the Tricare supplement.
Correct.
Okay. So they have to go through the DEERS program?
Yeah, so what you'll want to do, and the Tricare website is actually, it's really user-friendly and it's very helpful. So you can go on there and they can kind of walk you through the steps of getting you enrolled and getting you your DEERS number. And then as soon as you're enrolled, you can pick up the supplement plan. And we check eligibility. So as we get in our enrollments, we kind of double check that everybody has Tricare and that they do qualify for the supplement.
Okay, great.
So who is eligible for the plan? Retired uniformed service members who are eligible for Tricare and are not eligible for Medicare. So retired military entitled to retired or retainer pay, retired reserve members between the ages of 60 and 65 and entitled to retired or retainer pay, retired reserve members under 60, spouses or surviving spouses of the above, retired military personnel, spouses, surviving spouses age 65 or older and resides outside the U.S. or its territories, retired military personnel, surviving spouses or spouses age 65 or older and ineligible for Medicare, or Tricare Reserve Select, so TRS members. I know that was somebody's questions, and their eligible dependents are eligible for the plan. So if you have Medicare, you really don't need the supplement because what happens is Medicare will act as the primary, and then your Tricare, which turns into Tricare for Life, will be the secondary. So you really don't need more than 2 plans at one time. So that's why we say if you have Medicare, then you don't need the supplement.
Okay, I've got a couple of questions.
Okay.
The first one is, what about surviving spouses of military who died during active duty?
That is actually a really good question because that actually came up in a meeting we had. I'm going to get back to you on that one, Phyllis.
Okay, so you'll send me something after the presentation that we can send out?
Yeah, because that might be considered CHAMP VA, which is for disabled. It's for spouses and dependents of disabled veterans. And let me look into that. I don't want to promise anything.
Okay. So, Christine, I just want you to know I've got your name written down, and we will get back to you on this. All right. Another question is, I'm a spouse of an active duty reservist. I currently have the state health plan as my primary and Tricare Prime as my secondary. How will this supplement fit in with the insurance I already have?
So what you're going to want to probably do is look at the state health plan and compare the cost of your premium to the supplement, because realistically you don't need 3 plans. So if let's say you were to drop the state health plan and you could pick up the supplement, Tricare Prime would be your primary, and then the supplement would be your secondary. So anything that your Tricare Prime is approving, we would approve, and anything that Tricare denies, we would deny. Now, the nice thing when you do the supplement with Tricare Prime is with Prime, you really have to stay in network, you know, not to kind of get those additional fees. But when you pick up the supplement, we cover those additional fees. So you get a little more freedom as to what doctors you choose. You don't need to get referrals to go see a specialist. We'll kind of pick up those costs for you.
Okay, so basically what the employee really needs to do is to sit down and look, okay, how much am I paying for the state health plan if I'm employee only, or if I'm paying for family coverage. They really need to sit down and assess what they, you know, currently have and what maybe Tricare Prime with the Tricare supplement could do for them.
Exactly, and I mean it's really going to depend on each individual employee and, you know, their medical history and their future expectations of what they're going to need, and really doing kind of a cost comparison and looking at, you know, what's being covered by the state health plan currently.
Okay. Another question is, what happens if I enroll in the supplement and I'm still employed by the state but turn 65 years old?
So once you turn 65, if you are eligible for Medicare, you would automatically go on Medicare. So what would happen is that your supplement would terminate, we would end it. If you had dependents on your plan, though, we could actually continue the coverage for the dependents outside of NC Flex, and we're going to go over that in a little bit.
Okay.
If you were not eligible for Medicare, what you would do is you would send us the letter saying that you are not eligible for Medicare, and we could continue your coverage.
Okay. Another question. My husband is a reservist on disability. Do I qualify as a spouse? Currently, he is enrolled in Tricare, not me.
Yes. So as long as you are, you know, you're his spouse and he's a reservist, you would be able to qualify for the supplement.
Right. All right.
Yeah, because, sorry,
Go
Phyllis.
ahead. Go ahead.
The person who's really going to be enrolled in Tricare is always going to be the military personnel. All of the spouses and dependents, those are just going to be considered dependents. So that would make sense.
Okay. Now, I got another question. What about same-sex married couples?
As long as you are legally married.
Correct, just like we do with the state health plan or NC Flex. Okay?
Exactly.
All right. Okay, we've got a question about what is the cost of supplement, but we're going to go over that in a few minutes. They're asking, and we may go over this too, Stephanie, I'm not real sure, will this also be for pharmacy? In other words, does it help with the pharmacy benefits?
That's actually a great question, and it's really not on the slides. So the nice thing about the supplement is it does pick up the copays from the pharmacy. So any copay that's left behind, that's kind of where, this is typically the only time that you have to handle the claims yourself. So what you do is you just kind of fill out a nice, easy form, and then you just send it in with the receipts, and it's kind of more of we send you reimbursement for your copays. And you can do that throughout the year. You can, you know, save them and do them once a quarter, once a year, whatever works best for you.
Right. All right, another question. I'm a spouse of a retired soldier. State health plan is my primary, and Tricare Standard is my secondary. My husband has only Tricare Standard. Can I use the supplement for my husband only?
You can use the supplement for your husband, but you would have to enroll in the Employee Plus Spouse plan. And Phyllis, I believe those are kind of like the guidelines by NC Flex.
Absolutely, they are.
Yeah,
the employee has to have the benefit in order for any dependents to have it, and that's true for all NC Flex benefits.
Right. So you could definitely enroll yourself and your husband, and then you could decide if you actually wanted to use the coverage. When we go over pricing, you can kind of determine if that would make sense for you to keep the health state plan for yourself. But we can look at that in a little bit. But yes, you would both need to be enrolled.
We're getting lots of questions, which is great. If I'm engaged to get married, and I was considering getting the Tricare to cover my new spouse, would this and the supplement be a cost-effective way to provide health care coverage for my spouse? Let's answer that question when we get to the cost. So,
okay.
I think those costs, that way they can see what it's actually going to cost, and then they can make a determination, will it be cost effective? So, who wrote that in? Rhonda, if we do not answer the question fully, no, it wasn't Rhonda, I'm sorry, that was Janet. Please type the question back in. All right, if I drop the state health plan now, what happens when I turn 65? Do I get any benefits back from the state health plan? That's probably more of a question for me. I mean, you can enroll in the state plan during annual enrollment every year. That's in October to be effective January 1. Obviously, if you retire, you will have the opportunity to sign into the state health plan, when you retire. So, once you drop, well, and I would think that if you turn 65, you're going to lose coverage, kind of. And Stephanie will get into that. So that would be a life event that would allow you back in. So it's going to vary depending on your situation. Hold on, I've got some more questions.
And Phyllis, oh, you know what? Never mind, I'm going to hold that thought.
Okay. Am I eligible as the spouse of a disabled veteran?
So that is a good question. So your spouse would be on CHAMP VA, or you would qualify for CHAMP VA, which is the coverage for spouses and dependents of disabled veterans. We don't have a corporate plan for CHAMP VA, so you can't go through NC Flex, but we can get you a retail plan as an individual. So if that's something you're interested in, just give Phyllis your contact information, and she can pass that along to me, and I can have somebody reach out and kind of go over that with you.
Okay, my wife and I are both state employees, and I am the military retiree. Do we enroll in the supplement individually, or do I enroll us jointly?
I mean, looking at the cost, it would probably be more. Well, it's almost actually the same cost. Yeah, but yeah. So I mean, really, the single plan or the employee only, I believe, is $60.50, and the plan for the spouse and employee is like $119.50. So it's pretty much exactly the same cost. So you could really, whatever makes it easier for you, I guess.
Right. All right. Well, let's go on to dependent eligibility.
Okay. So dependent eligibility for the NC Flex TRICARE supplement is based on TRICARE eligibility guidelines. So unmarried dependent children up to age 21, or if the child is a full-time student up to age 23. This is different from other NC Flex benefits, which take a child up to age 26. Incapacitated dependents after age 21 or 23 if approved by TRICARE, and adult dependent children younger than age 26 enrolled in TRICARE Young Adult program. So really we just follow the same guidelines TRICARE does. So if your children are enrolled in TRICARE, then they can have the supplement. If they're in school, what will happen is we'll just ask for a letter to be sent just proving that they are in school. So why do you want the NC Flex TRICARE supplement plan? So here are the listed benefits. So cost savings, you can reduce the financial risk associated with a serious accident or illness. So because we pick up your copays and deductible and excess charges, you're going to kind of see that savings. Manage your health care. So you can control your health care costs with TRICARE and the NC Flex TRICARE supplement plan by choosing the providers you want. So as we kind of mentioned earlier, especially with TRICARE Prime and even Standard or Extra, when you go out of network, you can have those additional fees, or wanting to see a certain specialist and having to get a referral. So you really have the more control because you're not going to have to worry about those additional charges. Worldwide availability. So NC Flex TRICARE supplement and Selman are there. We're there for you whenever, wherever you need us. So you just kind of give us a call and we're going to go over that contact information. No network restrictions. So remove the financial penalty for using out-of-network or non-participating providers. So we kind of discussed that earlier. So let's say your doctor actually won't take TRICARE. They are allowed to upcharge a certain percentage, and that cost is actually covered by you, the patient. So we would pick up that charge. Known coverage, the supplement plan covers what TRICARE covers. So it's nice and easy to know that, okay, if I go to my doctor and TRICARE is going to cover this surgery, then the supplement's going to cover it. You're not going to kind of have to look into both plans. So some features, it supplements all three TRICARE options, so even though Standard and Extra are together, and then Prime. No pre-existing condition limitation clause, so no pre-existing condition. Guaranteed issue enables greater access to civilian providers worldwide. Covers the TRICARE deductible, cost shares, copays, and excess charges. So the nice thing with this plan is if you're on Standard and Extra, it covers the TRICARE deductible completely. If you're on Prime, it covers 50% of the TRICARE deductible. And there's also no deductible for the plan that NC Flex is offering. So even if you decide to drop your state plan now and add the supplement, you're not going to have to worry about starting over with a deductible halfway through the year. And there is an option to continue coverage if employee ends for any reason. So here are the monthly premium costs. So employee only.
Before you get into the cost, I want to make it very clear for those of us that have been around state government for a long time and saw TRICARE come through the first time. Back then, the state health plan supplemented the cost. The way it was written into law this go around, this is employee paid only. There will not be any cost supplement for this plan.
That is correct. There's legislation that went into place that says an employer is not allowed to contribute anything to the TRICARE supplement plan. So this is completely employee paid. So the employee rate for employee only is $60.50, employee plus child or children $119.50. Now the nice thing with this plan is it doesn't matter how many children you have, it's the same price. Employee plus spouse and employee plus family, and same thing for the employee plus family, it doesn't matter how many children. Premiums will be deducted on a pre-tax basis. And then as we mentioned before, no deductible, and it covers the TRICARE deductible. 100% for standard or extra, and 50% of that deductible for prime or POS.
Right, and here's where, you know, I kind of want to go back to that question about cost and is it cost effective, and do I need to keep the state health plan, and all those questions. Here's where you need to really sit down and educate yourself and determine, you know, which is the best course of action, you know, for me. Do I have Tricare Prime, Tricare Standard, Tricare Extra, and what really does that cover? And we know that the Tricare supplement covers what they don't, right? So, you know, the question you need to ask yourself is, do I need the state health plan or don't I? Is it cost effective to keep the state health plan if I have Tricare? And you know, and that's on an individual basis. So please, you know, like I tell all the, you know, my personnel people, please educate yourself on what kind of benefits you have and then make a determination. And I just want to also mention that, you know, whatever, some of us are on a monthly payroll, some of us are on a biweekly, some are twice a month. These deductions will be taken out as any other deductions that you have. So, you know, if you're getting paid biweekly, it'll come out in 2 payments. If you're getting paid monthly, the premiums are going to come out monthly. So that will remain the same just as with any other NC Flex benefit. Okay, Stephanie.
So, thank you. So if you decide to enroll, these are the items that you're going to receive. So we send a little welcome packet after you've enrolled. So it includes your schedule of insurance with ID cards. Something to note, your ID cards are only going to have the employee's name on them. So if you've signed up for you and your dependents, it's still only going to have your name on it, but it's the same card for everybody. Certificate of insurance, which can also be located at on the NC Flex website. Claim forms, which will also be available on the website. Instructions on how to file a claim. Typically, we see that most doctors file claims for the supplement just like they do for any other plan. We usually see the claims being filed for the prescription copays. A privacy policy and an explanation of e-services. So we have a website that you can actually go and sign up, and then you have the ability to log on and look at your plan. You could go on, look at the same things that you can kind of get from the NC Flex website. So a couple of different enrollment options. So the first would be beginning June 1st, employees can enroll via life event. And may also drop the state health plan for an effective date of June 1st. So that's if you want to kind of enroll in June. You can enroll during open enrollment in October for an effective date of January 1. And then new hires may enroll within 30 days of an effective date of the first of the following month, the date of hire. So you have kind of 3 different options, but I'm assuming nobody here, well, I shouldn't do that, but you know, the new hire one is going to probably be the most limited. You're either going to want to go with the June 1st effective date or January 1. So continuation of coverage. So I know we've had a couple questions about this. Employees who terminate coverage for any reason may, may continue on portability by paying the monthly premium directly to Enrollment Company. So when we say terminate, we not only mean kind of no longer working there, but also maybe you turn 65 or something along those lines. So what can happen is the monthly premium cost will be the same. The only change is that since you're going to be remitting payment directly to Enrollment Company, it's going to be post-tax instead of pre-tax. And as long as the individual remains Tricare eligible, supplemental coverage continues until the member chooses to terminate or up to age 65 for the member and spouse. So what will happen is we will get notification that your coverage is terminating. We will send you a letter of continuation. it will then ask you to, tell us if you want to continue the coverage and how you would like to pay moving forward. So as we kind of mentioned before, let's say you turn 65, but you have your spouse on the plan and you actually have some other dependents on the plan. We would get notification that you're terminating due to age, and then we would send you a letter of continuation for your dependents. And the nice thing for that is that the price isn't going to change for them either, so they're going to be able to stay on that same rate and then continue coverage until they're no longer eligible as well. So here's your contact information. The NC Flex website is a great resource. You can always feel free to call into our customer service or email, and then that is our address.
Okay. I got a question. This is a lot of insurance, and we do offer a lot of choices. Choices are good, but they can be very confusing. And so, they're wanting to know, who can I go to? Well, my recommendation to you all is to go see your personnel person that in your work location that handles state benefits, that takes care. Now, they're not tax advisors, they're not benefit advisors. They can't tell you that, this is going to be better than this, because everybody individually and their situations are so different. But of course, we're here. Stephanie's here regarding these choices. So, just pick up the phone. They can help you out. But just get all your facts together and educate yourself for sure. Hold on, I've got some other questions. Let's see, I'm a state employee and I'm eligible for Tricare Reserve, which I enrolled my spouse. I'm getting the state health plan at no cost. What would my benefit moving over to the supplement plan? And again, Stephanie, tell me if you don't disagree, but it depends on your own situation as to what your benefit would be.
Mm-hmm.
Look at the rate that you're paying.
Exactly, and that's where, if you are being covered completely at no cost under the state health plan, then that might make sense for you. But if you have a family and your dependents aren't being covered, that's really an individual kind of looking at what's being covered right now and kind of weighing your options.
Right.
I noticed, Phyllis, somebody asked, is there a different fee for the Tricare Young Adult? So
yes.
The nice thing about the supplement is that the premium is going to be the same no matter what Tricare plan you have. So no matter if you have the Tricare Young Adult or if you have Prime or Standard or Extra, you're a reservist, it's all the same cost. For a Tricare Young Adult, you're just considered a dependent. So you're either going to be on the employee plus child or children option or the employee plus family. It's going to be the same price for us. Now, Tricare, there is a fee to be on that Tricare Young Adult, but we don't handle that. That's handled through Tricare itself.
Right, and I think I answered it that way so everybody could see that.
Okay, I'm sorry about that.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay. This supplement is a reimbursement. Is that correct? How does reimbursement process work? Joseph, I'm assuming you're talking about, what are you talking about here? Are you talking about?
It's only a reimbursement for the pharmacy co-pays. Everything else kind of works like a typical health plan. So you don't have to, pay for your surgery and then send us the bill. You would just send us or the doctor would send us the necessary paperwork, and that's kind of in how to file a claim. But the only thing that you're really going to have to be reimbursed for are your prescription copays.
Right. And I suppose they could use their health care spending. Could they use their health care spending account for that since they're getting reimbursed? That would be a no, right?
No, yeah, that would be a no because then we would say, well, it was already covered, yeah.
That's right. So we have to be careful with the spending accounts when it comes to this benefit as well.
Mm-hmm.
So that's another consideration. I know we're throwing a lot at you guys. Now, I just want to remind you that to enroll, the time to enroll in this is June 1. And we are actually going to a new enrollment platform for which you all will be trained on and told about. For some of you, you won't even notice there's a difference, so don't panic on me. But effective June 1, you will have the opportunity to go into the system and choose gain of other coverage as a life event, and at that time you will be able to either keep or drop the state health plan and enroll in the Tricare supplement plan. But you know, your personnel person at your work location is going to have all this information. I've actually recorded this session, and I will be sending this out to your HBRs, your personnel people, and this whole PowerPoint so that you guys can get a copy of it. And then, of course, we will be sending out additional information as we get closer to the June 1 effective date. And then, as always, you can go on to the ncflex.org website, and on June 1, we will have all the information up there for you to see. I've got a question. Are you saying that we cannot use your NCFlex spending account for copays? Well, now as far as the pharmacy copay goes, you reimburse them, right, Stephanie?
Yeah, so the thing is, though, with your NCFlex spending account, and I'm not, you know, obviously I'm not as familiar with that, but your supplement would pick up your copays. So to use your flex spending account, I mean, that's going to be something you have to decide if you have, you know, so much money left in that account and you want to be able to use it, then, you know, trying to decide if the supplement makes sense for you, because the supplement would pick up those costs. And that's really kind of the premium that you're paying for, is so that you don't have to worry about your copays and the deductible and, you know, the pharmacy copays.
Copays for the doctor, copays for that kind of thing. So let me go ahead and tell them, because I do know about the spending account. Will you be able to use your card? Absolutely. When will you get caught? If the IRS audits you. So just keep that in mind.
Now, a nice time to use your spending account would be if Tricare doesn't cover something. So if Tricare is not going to cover a service,
and Tricare doesn't cover either, right?
Correct. So if Tricare doesn't cover it, the supplement's not going to cover it. That would be a great time to use your flex spending account. I also saw that there was a question about somebody getting the supplement directly from Selman. The cost is going to be different because it is a different plan. The plan that, the group plan that we offer through NCFlex, the pricing is going to be a little different, and the other main difference is that there's not going to be a deductible with the plan that NCFlex is offering.
Correct.
A Tricare supplement deductible. Most of the individual plans we offer that this employee is talking about, they have a deductible for the supplement.
All right. What about eye exams? You know.
So vision.
yeah, prescription, eyeglasses, contacts, lens, exam, that kind of thing.
Vision is not covered on Tricare, so it's not covered on the supplement as well.
Okay. Now, the question here is, I use the state health plan for my eye exam, and really the only way you can do that is if you have a medical condition that is causing problems with your eyes. Just for, you know, routine eye exams, you either got to get a vision insurance, which of course NC Flex offers one, and you can also use your flexible spending account towards an eye exam and contact lenses and that kind of thing. Now, if they had a medical condition, would the Tricare pay for that, for the eye exam?
That is a good question, and I can look into that.
Yeah, okay, please do. And we're going to do a list of frequently asked questions, and this might be a good one to put on there. Let's see. So I've got somebody that said, if you're too lazy to get reimbursed, then the NC Flex spending account could be used for copays. Yeah, I have no comment to that. Good question.
Yeah, and I mean, the thing about the supplement is typically you're only having to handle the reimbursements for the pharmacy copays.
Right.
You know, most doctors will handle it for you.
Right. Somebody's stating that I have Tricare. Can I enroll in the supplement on June 1? Absolutely, you can. Will there be information pamphlets available? Absolutely, there will, and we will send them to your work location in the personnel office, so they should disseminate that information down. But like I said, we're in the middle of getting this online enrollment system together, and once we have all the little kinks worked out, we'll definitely have that information out to you. The enrollment window, I've got someone asking, is going to be 30 days as with any other plan when you have a life event. But let me go ahead and tell you, the sooner the better, because the state health plan takes out the month prior, meaning in May they're going to take out for June. If you elect to drop the state health plan, then you need to go ahead and do it as soon as possible, because, you know, for the NC Flex Tricare supplement, it will be taking out at the end of June for the month of June, if that makes any sense. So state health plan, you're paying a month ahead. With all NC Flex benefits, including the Tricare, you're paying the month of. So the sooner the better. And that's why we're trying to hold these sessions now, so that you can have some kind of idea as to what you want to do. Do we have any more questions? All right, guys. Well, I thank you so much for listening to us. I hope that you have a great day. Stephanie, thank you so much for joining us, and we will be sending information out soon. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. Thanks, Phyllis.
You're welcome.
Bye-bye.
Bye.